Hello, my name is Keith Bailey, coming at you with NFL Week 5 picks for 2016. Alright, I'll get into this video by saying again that the Tennessee Titans, I'm sick of losing these one-score games by some BS reason. I mean, it really is the little things. That and the fact that Mariota is regressing this year. I don't know if it's the system he's playing in or what. I think I said something about this in my last video, but hey, time will tell. I know he's an accurate QB. Maybe he just had an off game 2 games in a row. Um, the Miami Dolphins could be solid healing. Who knows? But I'm just sick of, other than him, I'm just sick of blowing these games in some ridiculous ass reasons, man. I mean, against Minnesota, who are pretty damn good this year, I mean, we gave that game away with pick and a fumble that led to a touchdown. We were winning that game otherwise. And then against the Raiders, it was the offensive, albeit it being a little bit of a petty call. That's the offensive pass interference that the Titans had on Andre Johnson in that game, and then the no call at the end of the game. I don't know what it is with the Raiders. I mean, the same thing happened to us with the referees in the Raiders and Titans game last year. But it doesn't matter now. It's a loss. A loss is a loss. And then this past week, special teams ruining the game for us pretty much. We spotted the Texans 10 points because of special teams. Tennessee's defense, the defense, not like the offensive miscues or the special teams. The defense of the Titans have held their last 3 opponents, the Texans, the Lions, and the Raiders, to 3 total second half points. That's it. In the third and fourth quarter in the last 3 games, the defense has allowed 3 total points, and it was against the Lions. So essentially, Tennessee's defense has not allowed a second half point in 2 games. And the defense isn't the problem. The offense needs to move the ball downfield and stop making these mistakes. But that is my rant. I'm done with it. Let's move on. Alright, we start with a Thursday night game. A game that suddenly got a lot more interesting. Cardinals at 49ers. Oh my goodness. I'm picking the Cardinals in this game because if the Cardinals can't win here, they're not making the playoffs. They can't. The Cardinals in the NFC West especially can't afford to fall to 1-4, especially considering the Vikings dominance, the Packers being there, the NFC East resurgence, and the Falcons coming into their own a little bit. They can't afford to drop to 1-4. Arizona can't play the season behind the 8 ball. So I think Arizona goes into San Francisco and gets the win. Even without Carson Palmer, I think they get the win 20-14 over San Francisco. Next up, we got the Patriots at the Browns. Laugh all you want. I'm picking the Patriots. Yeah, you thought I was going to say Browns there, didn't you? But I will say this game will be a lot closer than people think. Trust me. Because the last time these two teams played, the last 2 times these two teams played, in 2010, the Patriots went into Cleveland and got manhandled 34-14. It was one of the Patriots' 2 regular season losses that year, and the Browns just handled the crap out of them. And then 3 years ago, Cleveland went into Foxborough and lost 27-26 in a game where the Browns actually had a 12-point lead with like 2 minutes left, but the Patriots staged an insane comeback. A comeback that should not have happened because the onside kick that they had did not travel 10 yards, and that was a missed call by the referees. So that's a game Cleveland also should have won. I think the Patriots go into Cleveland and get the win, but I think it'll be 28-23. I think Cleveland keeps it close. I really do. Call me crazy, and that's why I'm staying away from this game in the elimination pool. But I have my eye on this game. People think Tom Brady's going to come back with a vengeance. What? It's just another game. I know he's got a point to make here, But he's not worried about that. He's worried about reading defenses and making passes. He's not worried about how much he's going to shred the team he's playing because he's pissed at Goodell. Okay? Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. I think the Eagles... Now that I think about it, I'm thinking of switching my pick. That did work for me last week, by the way. I picked the Bills to beat the Patriots, the Falcons to beat the Panthers, and the Raiders to beat the Ravens. All happened. So, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I've been calling these a little bit here. A little bit. Just a little. I'm gonna pick. I'm picking the Eagles. I gotta stick with Philadelphia here. That defense, I just keep thinking about that way they thumped the Steelers, and I can't get that out of my head. The Eagles defense is playing lights out, and I think they'll go into Detroit and they'll get the win 20-17 over the Lions. I remember last year when the Lions pooped all over the Eagles on Thanksgiving. I don't think that happens this time. I think the Eagles get the win. Bears at Colts. Indianapolis, this is your chance to save your season because you can't afford to drop to 1-4 either. Well, in the AFC South maybe you can, but you can't keep losing because you just can't. That's all I gotta say. This is a must-win game for the Colts. And I think at home they get the win here. They're playing the Bears. The Bears have no offense, which matches up against Indianapolis's no defense. So they'll give up like 20 points. But I think the Colts, with that crazy offense of theirs at home, wins 31-20 over Chicago. Next up, we got the Titans at the Dolphins. To the NFL, my fellow NFL YouTube prognosticators, if you read that post, you know what I'm talking about. But to those who haven't read the post or are not part of that site, let me feed you a little bit of information that I think is very interesting. Last year in 2015, the Tennessee Titans played the Dolphins in the 5th game of the year. Both teams were 1-3. Both teams the Titans lost 3 close games. The Dolphins were in disarray in their 3 losses. Tennessee's schedule started to get a lot easier. The Dolphins just fired their coach. That part is different, I know. But this was supposed to be a crossroads because last year a lot of people were picking Tennessee to beat the Dolphins here because of the way Tennessee competed in their 3 losses, and Miami was a very winnable game against a team that they probably should have beaten before going into the game until the Dolphins destroyed them. Now, what are the odds that the exact same thing happens with the 2 exact same teams with the exact same records in the exact same scenario? Weird? Yeah, very weird. I think at least. This is another crossroads. Same situation too. Tennessee lost 3 close games this year. Miami has looked in disarray in their losses, whether they blow a game or whether they win a game they probably should have lost, Cleveland. But I'm fighting myself on this. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm picking the Tennessee Titans here. This is the first time this year I have picked the Titans to win a football game. I'm doing it. I'll regret doing it, but I'm picking the Titans. Don't let me down, please. I mean, this is your chance to redeem yourself for that blowout last year that sent you spiraling to the 3-13 record. So, redeem yourselves, please. I'm picking the Titans to win 21-16 over Miami. Don't make me regret it. Next up, Redskins at Ravens. I think Baltimore gets back on their winning track here. The Redskins are on a 2-game winning streak. I don't think they get to 3 games, and I think the Ravens get the win here by a score of 23-13 over Washington. The Ravens defense, although they gave up all those points to Baltimore, is pretty solid. Next up, Texans at Vikings. Putting Minnesota on a little bit of upset little bit of an upset alert in this game, but I'm still picking them to win because every team's got to lose a game at some point. So the Eagles, Vikings, and Broncos will lose at some point. I just don't think it'll be this week. I think the Vikings at home, especially against an inferior opponent, I think the Vikings win. Let's go 23-7. The Texans offense will not get anything going against this defense. This defense is tough. Next is the Jets at the Steelers. I think the Steelers at home at Heinz Field take this game by a score of 34-20 over the Jets. The Steelers offense just looks unstoppable right now. I thought the Chiefs defense was good. I mean, at least last year they were, but the Steelers just made Kansas City look god awful in that game. And I think they'll do the same with the Jets. The Jets did not open with a friendly schedule, and I think this sends the Jets to 1-4, and the Jets season starts to fall apart. Next up, we got the Falcons at the Broncos in a game I'm looking forward to watching because I think it's going to be a great game. On one end, you got the defending Super Bowl champions. On the other end, you have a team that's coming into their own a little bit. I think this Falcons team has more staying power this year than the one they had last year. Last year, they started 5-0 and they fizzled down the stretch. But I mean, I think Atlanta's good this year. I do. I don't think they're going to get the win in Denver, but I think the offense is going to give Denver a little bit of trouble. Oh, excuse me. I think the Broncos take this game. Let's go 27-24 over Atlanta. This game should be a very good game to watch. Next up, we got the Bengals at Dallas. I wanted to pick the Cowboys in this game, but I just don't see Dak Prescott. The rookie-itis, whatever it is, will catch up to him. It always does. I think the Bengals go into Dallas, and they upset the Cowboys here. If it would be considered an upset, I don't know. But I think Cincinnati, especially with that extra rest, goes into Dallas, wins this game by a score of 22-16 over Dallas in overtime. Dak Prescott's going to make his mistakes in this game because you can't be perfect forever. You can't not throw an interception forever. So, and I just don't see the Cowboys going to 4-1, winning 4 straight games with Dak Prescott. So I think Cincinnati will get the win here. Next up, we got Bills at the Rams. The Rams are a shocking 3-1, and this is a golden opportunity for them to get to 4-1 against an opponent that should be inferior. But the Bills' defense has been playing well recently, so I think this game will be low scoring, and I think the Buffalo Bills are going to go into Los Angeles and upset the Rams, if you would consider that an upset. 13-12. I think the Bills will get the win. Next up, we got the Chargers at the Raiders. I'm putting the Raiders on upset alert. They're flying high. They're 3-1. We get it. The Chargers have been in every single game and have had a fourth quarter lead in every single game with 2 minutes left. At least to my knowledge, they have. They blew it against Indy. They blew a 3-possession game against Kansas City. And they certainly blew it last week with 7 minutes left against the Saints. So this is a game that the Chargers are going to be in. The Raiders aren't going to blow them out. I think that the Raiders will win. Do I, though? Do I? You know what? I'm switching my pick. I have a bad feeling about the Raiders in this one. I'm gonna go with the Chargers in an upset. I think San Diego will get the win, 31-28 against the Raiders. That is my gut feeling. I know the San Diego Chargers are an injured football team right now, but Philip Rivers gives them a chance in every single game, and I think that the Raiders are going to be on the wrong end of that because Oakland has won. They're 3-1 right now, and I think they still have some melding to do. They'll win 10 games this year, but I think If they go 10-6 and they start 4-1, that means they have to go 6-5 in their last 11 games. And Oakland is a good football team. I don't think they're going to have a stretch where they go 6-5. So a 4-1 start seems a little out of the ordinary for them because they're not going to be a team that goes to 12-4 or 13-3. I think at least. So based on that alone, 3-2 for Oakland sounds a little better, knowing they probably could go 7-4 the rest of the way to get to 10 wins, because this is a solid 10-win team. So I'm picking the Chargers to upset the Raiders and send them to 3-2. I also have trouble seeing San Diego at 1-4 with the way they've been playing. Next up, we get the Giants at the Packers. Packers should win this game. They had a bye week. They had an extra week to prepare for the Giants. I remember pumping up the Giants like no tomorrow when I picked them to go to the championship game and they started 2-0. Boy, was that premature of me to do. The Giants are still the Giants a little bit. Odell Beckham Jr., he is not performing as well as I want him to for fantasy league reasons, but I address that in other matters. So I think the Packers at home are going to send the Giants to 2-3, send the Giants to their third straight loss in the year, and I think Green Bay gets the win here, 30-20 over the Giants. Next up is your lock of the week, the Buccaneers at the Panthers. Panthers are not going to go to 1-4, especially at home against the Buccaneers and Jameis Winston, who I think has thrown the most picks in the league so far, and he doesn't even have a running game to back him up. Doug Martin has been out, and I think he is still going to be out for this game against the Panthers. And early returns of how Winston does without a running game are not good. And as a Titans fan, that makes me a little happy because maybe some people can shut up about this whole Winston versus Mariota deal, because this is Winston without a running game. Mariota did that all last year. But I can't even say anything either because Mariota hasn't been playing well with the running game this year. So let's just point out the fact that how about both of these QBs are having a sophomore slump that is pretty much equal to each other. Alright? These two quarterbacks are progressing at the same rate on a weekly basis, it seems. One has a great game, the other has a bad game. One has a good game, the other has a bad game. They both have good games, they both have bad games. It's a trend that's been going for the last year and a fourth. So shut up about this talk as to who's better. It's way too early to be talking about this. That being said, I think Winston will have he'll have a good career. He takes more chances downfield than Mariota does because he has the weapons to be able to. But against the Panthers in Carolina, with the Panthers facing a 1-4 record in the face, I think the Panthers are going to walk all over the Buccaneers in this game. I think this game is going to be 35-14 over Tampa. I just can't see a situation where I see the Panthers falling to 1-4. I don't. I'm sorry. Those are my picks. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys all next time.